Hey friends, welcome back to the Your Sorority Journey podcast. We are in week 3 of So You Think You Want to Join a Sorority. And what I love about this week is we are diving into membership expectations, revealing what sororities actually require of you, and debunking any false misconceptions that may be circulating about these expectations. As we lay the foundation for our conversation today, we are going to go through the 4 biggest categories of expectations, but they are all rooted in the same common truth that the expectations your future or current sorority chapter holds of you are in place. These expectations are in place to help you become the woman that you wanted to be when you joined a sorority. If you are considering joining a sorority this fall, I want you to think about the kind of person that you want to be the day you graduate. The expect the expectation you have of the experience you will have gathered, the professional development you will have experienced, the maybe tangible things on your resume, and also like the richness of relationship that you want to say you had in college. Sorority expectations are put in place to help you be that kind of person. So, as you think through these, I would love for you to think through these through the lens of the person you want to be and how sorority can be a catalyst to help you become that woman instead of feeling like these expectations are a hindrance from that person. So, the 4 categories that we're going to dive into today are time, finances, behavior, and values. We are going to spend a lot of time talking about time later this week on the blog, but there is a pretty significant time commitment associated with being a member of a sorority. As you may have heard or perceived on social media, there are a lot of events held. And in addition to all the events that are actually posted about and that you hear about, are the less glamorous events like chapter meetings and service events and fundraisers, both for your organization, for other organization, the educational programming development that sometimes is called mandatory through the campus community, through the fraternity and sorority community, or for your specific chapter. And all of those things require time. So it's really important as you go through the recruitment process to ask very directly how much time is required for you to evaluate of the other things that you want to commit to in college, whether you are in a really rigorous major or you have another commitment on campus that is a part of your ability to be there, whatever that might be. It's really important that you have a clear sense or clear expectation around how much time you're going to devote to sorority because there are all those formal events and then there are also all of the informal, spontaneous moments of sisterhood where you get to engage and invest in these relationships that give you the lifelong sisters that you're looking for. So be sure to read the blog later this week and hear from all 3 of our interns about what the time commitment looks like or has looked like in their varying experiences. And I want you to know that regardless of your major, regardless of your extracurricular activities, sorority is not a distraction, but can really enhance those experiences if you have a clear expectation about how much time it requires. The next is finances. Yes, there is a financial component to being in the sorority. This is really specific campus to campus, though. So it's going to be important that you look up on your Campus Panhellenics website. They are required to provide you, each and every chapter is required to provide you how much it costs to be a member. There are typically a lot of onboarding, if you will, or new member fees associated with your first term or first semester of being a member. Those fees go directly to your new member experience and really setting you up for success and allowing the national organization to be an advocate and a support system for your experience at your college and university. So know that there's a little bit more expense associated with your first semester, but every semester or term, depending on the kind of campus you're at, there are dues associated with creating the membership-based experience that you get to be a part of. On social media, there is a lot of dollar amounts that float around. So it's really important for you to get a clear sense of what the experience looks like on your campus and what the cost is associated. Costs can really differ based on how many social events are hosted, if there's a house or not, if there is a meal plan in the house or not. Apparel sometimes is included in that. The recruitment events and new member experiences. Often some of your dues go toward your chapter or community fundraising goals. And then also some of your dues go toward leadership development opportunities, whether for yourself or for the leaders of your chapter. That's where part of the budget goes to. And finally, a big portion of your dues go toward enhancing your experience, whether that is by being able to tap into your national organization's wealth of knowledge and resources. Sometimes that looks like actually sending a staff member to your campus to support the things you do. Or sometimes it's just having a workshop that your chapter is able to host that's been created by your national organization. All in all, your dollars come back to you. The dollars that you put into the organization, the women that you have elected to oversee those funds are responsible for creating an experience that benefits you. Behavior. We're going into our third expectation. This one is the one I think that we see the most hype or misconception about on social media. When someone gets sent to what we call standards, which is a form of accountability that is made up of other women in your chapter, not executive council members. Typically, it's only one executive officer from your chapter and a couple other women just representing the chapter and wanting to uphold the values. There's expectations around behavior because your organization cares, yes, about the organization's reputation on campus, but more so about your reputation, who you are becoming, and how you are preparing yourself for society to be a well known and represented employee, to be a highly respected future intern or apprentice, whatever it is that your industry is going towards. So there's expectations around your social media. Obviously, illegal activity, right, is prohibited and you will be held accountable for, in addition to any like legal processes. There's also expectations around your academic excellence, which is also kind of tied into our last expectation. You have an expectation to go to class, to maintain a certain GPA to ensure you're in good standing, yes, with the university, but also with the organization. There are also expectations around your involvement, going back to time, like that your behavior upholds the values of the organization. So you will potentially get sent to standards if you are not attending a certain number of events or lying about the reasons why you can't be at certain events. And then finally, I think with behavior, whenever you are talking about your organization or another organization on campus in a way that isn't upholding the values of the organization, if it's specific sisters or organizations at large, you will probably be held accountable for that. So that's another good question to ask is, what does the judicial process in a specific chapter look like? What can that woman expect? And then I'd also ask, if you're a potential new member going through recruitment this fall, how do the expectations make you better? How do they prepare you for a future job? How do they make you more attractive of an intern or grad assistant or whatever that thing is that you're going toward? Because we want to be able to engage in the expectations of our sorority with a clear sense of how they are in our best interests. And finally, the last expectation is values. The values that root and ground your organization, you want to connect with on a certain level to ensure that you are able to live them out, not just for the sake of the organization, but also so the things that you're invested in, you find alignment in. There are common sorority values like leadership, service, autonomy, loyalty, friendship, personal growth, scholarship. Those are just some random values that a lot of our chapters really have clung on to. I think it's important, if you haven't joined a sorority yet, to identify things that really matter to you. Maybe it's your family or your faith or some of your best friends, or maybe you love learning and like have a growth mindset. It's important to know what you value so that when you go through recruitment, you're able to look out for chapters that also live out those values, even if they aren't the words that are like associated with the things that chapter values. And it's important too to look at those words and notice what common traits there are between the things you value and what the chapter values. And if you were a member of the chapter, how you'd be able to live that out. This is also where academic excellence ties in. values that value of being academically excellent comes into play when sometimes you are held accountable in standards, or that loyalty, not talking bad about another sister. So some of these expectations really tie in together. Same thing with like time and finances. Like if you are not budgeting enough time for your sorority membership, then you probably aren't getting your money's worth to actually experience the fullness of the membership experience that's available to you. So please know that these four categories of expectations are for you. They aren't in the sorority's best interests. Like, who cares if the sorority benefits but the members are miserable? We want to make you better. So as you think about the expectations ahead of you, I want you to challenge what you see on social media because surely there have been expectations that have been upheld poorly. That is just the reality of any man-made institution, right? We are all 18 to 22-year-old women trying to lead organizations, and sometimes women make mistakes. And a lot of the stories where women make mistakes get posted and talked about on social media. And I'm not saying that they did the right thing or they shouldn't have been held accountable for making a mistake in how they upheld an expectation. But I do think it's important to look through it of a lens of an exception instead of what to expect. And so, know as you hear about all the horror stories of the ways expectations have been upheld wrong, that is not going to be your experience when you go into it with clear expectations of what to expect and have a lot of transparency with each and every chapter that you meet in recruitment about what your expectations are too and what you're hoping to get out of the experience, recognizing that it is a give and take. There is an opportunity for you to invest in something bigger than yourself, but also requires you to contribute to something too. I hope this helps the way you frame your expectations and perspective of what your sorority membership will be like. Because as much as it is about sisterhood and lifelong friendship and your future bridesmaids, it's also about becoming a woman that you are really proud of the day you graduate and letting sorority play a role in that.